What if the biggest reason you're struggling with money isn't how much you earn, but what you were taught to believe about it? Most people spend decades chasing raises, working longer hours, and hoping that one day they'll finally feel financially secure. Yet somehow, even with bigger paychecks, many still live paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because school teaches us how to earn money, but almost never teaches us how money actually works. And when your financial decisions are built on beliefs that were never questioned, hard work alone can quietly become a treadmill instead of a path to freedom. Imagine if you could see money through an entirely different lens. A lens that changes how you think about jobs, savings, investing, risk, and ultimately, wealth itself. That shift in perspective has transformed millions of lives around the world. Today, we decode Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki. Welcome to the Upgraded Mind. I am going to decode this book so deeply and perfectly that you will never need to read it or watch another summary ever again. Book Introduction. When Rich Dad, Poor Dad was first published, it challenged one of the most deeply accepted beliefs about success. For generations, most of us were taught a familiar formula: study hard, get good grades, find a secure job, work faithfully, save money, and someday you'll be financially comfortable. Robert Kiyosaki doesn't dismiss hard work or education. Instead, he asks a far more uncomfortable question. What if that formula was designed to create excellent employees, but not financially independent people? Through the story of two father figures who held completely different beliefs about money, Kiyosaki invites us to examine something far more powerful than income. He asks us to examine our financial mindset. One father believed that security comes from earning a paycheck. The other believed that true freedom comes from owning assets that continue producing income whether you're working or not. This book isn't really about choosing between two fathers. It's about choosing between two ways of thinking. Throughout this masterclass, we'll carefully unpack every major lesson exactly as the author intended. We'll explore not only what each idea means, but why it matters, how it works, where people often misunderstand it, and how you can apply these principles thoughtfully in your own financial life. Whether you're just beginning your financial journey, building a career, running a business, or simply wondering why financial freedom always seems just out of reach, the ideas in this book have the potential to completely reshape the way you see money, not because they promise instant wealth, but because they encourage a different way of thinking before a different financial outcome is ever possible. Now, let's begin with Chapter 1. The Rich Don't Work for Money. From the time we are children, we are handed a very specific script for life. Go to school, get good grades, and find a safe, secure job. We are told that a paycheck is the ultimate shield against the uncertainties of the world. But there is a profound flaw in this script. Most people spend their entire lives completely controlled by two invisible emotions: fear and desire. Let's look at how this psychological trap actually works. The fear of not having money, the fear of not being able to pay the rent or buy groceries, forces us to wake up and go to work. We grind through the day, driven by that quiet anxiety. And then, the paycheck arrives. The exact moment the money hits your account, the second emotion takes over: desire. You suddenly start thinking about all the beautiful things that money can buy. A slightly nicer car, a better apartment, a weekend vacation, or even just a new phone. So, you spend the money, and within a few weeks, the account drains and the fear returns. Wake up, go to work, pay bills, wake up, go to work, pay bills. This is what Robert Kiyosaki calls the rat race. It is a completely automated, unconscious cycle of working, earning, and spending, driven entirely by emotion. When average people feel the pressure of this race, what do? They blame their boss. They blame the economy. They march into the office and demand a raise, genuinely believing that more money will cure their financial stress. But here is a psychological reality that most people completely miss. When average people get a raise at work, they don't use that extra money to buy their freedom. Their desire steps in, and they simply upgrade their lifestyle. They buy a bigger house, which comes with a bigger mortgage, higher taxes, and more maintenance. Their income goes up, but their expenses rise right alongside it. They are making more money, but they are actually sinking deeper into the trap. Think about the modern American dream. You get that promotion, and suddenly, you feel you deserve to lease that brand new Tesla. You upgrade to a luxury apartment downtown. You start ordering DoorDash every night instead of cooking. Your paycheck is 20% bigger, but your lifestyle creep just swallowed it whole. You are running faster, but you are still stuck on the exact same treadmill. To understand how to escape this, we have to look at a brilliant lesson Kiyosaki learned as a 9-year-old boy. He and his friend Mike wanted to learn how to make money. So, Mike's father, the man Kiyosaki calls his rich dad, offered them a job. He made them dust cans and stock shelves in his convenience store every weekend. But the pay was a brutal insult, 10 cents an hour. After a few weeks of giving up his weekends for pennies, young Robert was exhausted, furious, and ready to quit. He felt undervalued and exploited. He went to Rich Dad, ready to demand a massive raise or walk out the door. When he complained, Rich Dad simply smiled. He looked at the 9-year-old boy and said, "You sound exactly like most of my employees." Rich Dad explained that the moment you get angry at your boss and demand more pay, you are surrendering all your power. You are expecting someone else to solve your money problems. Then, Rich Dad did something that seemed completely absurd. He didn't give Robert a raise. Instead, he took away the 10 cents an hour entirely. He told the boys that if they truly wanted to learn how the wealthy think, they had to work for him for absolutely free. Why would he do this? Because the moment you stop expecting a paycheck, your brain undergoes a massive forced evolution. When you know a paycheck isn't coming, you stop thinking like an employee. You stop looking at the clock, waiting for your shift to end. Instead, your mind is violently forced to look for opportunities, and that is exactly what happened. While working for free in the store, Robert and Mike noticed that the store manager was throwing away old comic books. Their minds, now completely detached from the expectation of an hourly wage, spotted an opportunity that everyone else ignored. They asked to keep the old comics. They took them to Mike's basement, cleaned the space, and opened a library for the kids in their neighborhood. They charged an admission fee of 10 cents, allowing kids to read as many comics as they wanted in 2 hours. They hired Mike's sister to manage the door, and suddenly, they were making $9 a week. Even better, they were making that money while they were at school or hanging out or sleeping. They hadn't just found a way to make a few dollars. They had engineered a system. They built an asset. This is the ultimate defining truth of wealth. The rich do not work for money. They are intensely deliberate about how they use their time. They understand that a job is just a short-term solution to a long-term problem. Instead of trading their precious, limited time for a fixed amount of cash, they focus entirely on acquiring or building assets. An asset is a system that generates money for you, entirely independent of your physical labor. If you truly want to build a millionaire empire or find absolute peace in your financial life, you have to stop acting on reflex. You must realize that true wealth isn't about how much money you make. It is about how much money you keep and how hard that money works for you. When you finally stop working for money and start deliberately designing a life where money works for you, you take the power back from your employer. You take the power back from the banks. You reclaim the ultimate ownership of your own destiny. Micro experiment. Today, I want you to try a gentle awareness-building exercise. Let's call it the emotion audit. Sometime today, you will inevitably feel the urge to spend money. It might be on a coffee you don't really need, a new digital subscription, or an item sitting in your online cart. Before you click buy or hand over your card, pause for just 5 seconds. Ask yourself one simple question. Am I buying this to genuinely improve my life, or am I just feeding a temporary emotional desire? You don't even have to stop the purchase. Just become intensely aware of the emotion driving it. The moment you begin to observe your financial emotions rather than blindly obeying them is the exact moment you step out of the rat race. Have you ever noticed that some of the highest earning people you know, doctors, lawyers, or senior executives, are often secretly drowning in debt? You look at their beautiful homes and luxury cars and assume they have it all figured out. But behind closed doors, they are living paycheck to paycheck, terrified of missing a single month of work. What if the reason we struggle with money has absolutely nothing to do with how much we earn, but stems from a massive blind spot in our education? To understand why so many brilliant people remain financially trapped, we have to uncover a quietly powerful truth about the rules of wealth. Chapter 2. Why teach financial literacy? In 1923, a group of the world's greatest leaders and richest businessmen held a massive meeting at the Edgewater Beach Hotel in Chicago. These were the absolute titans of industry, men who controlled monopolies and vast global empires. But 25 years later, almost every single one of them had met a tragic end. Some went completely bankrupt, some went to prison, and others took their own lives. How did men with so much power and money lose absolutely everything? Because they believed a dangerous illusion. They believed that making money was the ultimate goal. But the profound reality of wealth is different. It is not about how much money you make. It is entirely about how much money you keep and how many generations you keep it for. Our schools are incredible at teaching us how to read books, solve complex math, and prepare for a specific profession. But they completely skip the one subject every single human being relies on for survival: money. We enter the world highly educated but financially illiterate. We know how to read words, but we don't know how to read the language of money. And because we lack this financial foundation, we assume that the ultimate solution to our financial struggles is simply securing a higher salary. But more money rarely solves the problem. In fact, it often accelerates it. Look at lottery winners or highly paid professional athletes. They suddenly receive millions of dollars, yet within a few years, they are completely bankrupt. Why does this happen? Because money only accentuates the cash flow pattern already running in your head. If your mental pattern is to spend every single dollar you get, more money just means massive spending. It is a behavioral flaw, not an income problem. To fix this, you have to learn the vocabulary of wealth. Robert Kiyosaki's rich dad taught him that there is only one rule to becoming wealthy. Rule number 1, and the absolute only rule you will ever need, is that you must know the difference between an asset and a liability, and you must deliberately buy assets. It sounds almost ridiculously simple, but this is exactly where 99% of people fail. They fail because our society has completely blurred the definition of these two words. People buy liabilities, but their bankers and financial advisors tell them they are buying assets. Let's strip away the complex financial jargon and define them with absolute clarity. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket. Rich Dad believed that financial literacy isn't just knowing definitions. It's understanding how money actually flows. Every financial decision affects two invisible reports: your income statement and your balance sheet. The income statement tracks the money coming in and going out each month. The balance sheet tracks what you own and what you owe. Most people focus only on their paycheck, but wealthy people constantly ask one question: does this decision strengthen my balance sheet or weaken it? That simple habit changes every financial choice you make, whether you work or not. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. That is it. That is the entire foundation of financial literacy. If you want to be rich, simply spend your life building a massive column of assets. If you want to be poor or middle class, spend your life buying liabilities. To master this, we must visualize the three distinct cash flow patterns that define human society. The first pattern is the cash flow of the poor. Money comes in through a paycheck, and it goes straight out through the expense column: rent, food, transportation, taxes. There is no money left over to buy assets, and they don't even earn enough to qualify for major liabilities. They are simply surviving day to day. The second pattern is the cash flow of the middle class. This is the most deceptive and dangerous path of all. The middle class earns a higher income, but the moment that paycheck arrives, it flows directly into the liability column. They buy a massive mortgage, 2 car loans, credit card debt, and student loans. These liabilities then drain out as massive monthly expenses. The tragedy of the middle class is that as their income grows, they just qualify to borrow more money. They mistake their growing debt for growing wealth. But the third pattern, the cash flow of the rich, is remarkably different. The wealthy focus their entire existence on the asset column. They buy real estate that generates monthly rental income, They build businesses that run on autopilot. They invest in dividend-paying stocks and intellectual property. For the wealthy, their assets act as a tireless army of employees. These assets generate a massive stream of income, which they use to pay their living expenses. And then they take the leftover cash to buy even more assets. It becomes an unstoppable compounding machine. This brings us to the ultimate trap of modern society, the family home. Society tells us that buying a massive, beautiful house is our greatest investment and the ultimate dream. We are pressured into signing away 30 years of our lives for it. But let's run this dream through our simple definition. When you buy a large home on a 30-year mortgage, does it put money in your pocket every month? No, it aggressively takes money out. You pay the massive mortgage, property taxes, insurance, and endless maintenance. To the bank, your house is a brilliant asset because it pays them every single month. But to you, it is a massive liability. Now, this is usually the exact moment where people get furious. The American dream is literally built on homeownership. But look at the math. In the US, between property taxes, HOA fees, a new roof every 15 years, and a 7% mortgage rate, your house is constantly demanding cash. It doesn't mean renting is always better or that you shouldn't buy a home. It just means you need to stop lying to your balance sheet. A house you live in is a liability. A house you rent out to someone else is an asset. When you tie up all your available capital in a massive house, you suffer 3 invisible losses. First, loss of time. You lose years of potential growth while your money is trapped in home equity. Second, loss of additional capital. You have no leftover cash to invest in true income-producing assets. Third, loss of education. Because you don't have capital to invest, you never gain the real-world financial experience required to become an intelligent investor. Kiyosaki isn't saying you shouldn't buy a house. He is saying you must be mindful and aware of what it truly is, a liability. If you want a bigger house, the wealthy mindset demands that you first buy an asset that generates enough cash flow to pay for that house. This entire philosophy leads to a profound shift in how we measure success. We are taught to measure our worth in net worth, but net worth is often an illusion filled with depreciating liabilities like cars, clothes, and furniture. The true definition of wealth was coined by a brilliant thinker named Buckminster Fuller. He said that wealth is a person's ability to survive so many number of days forward, meaning, if you stopped working today, how long could you survive? If your monthly expenses are $3,000 and you have $10,000 in savings, your wealth is approximately 3 months. But the exact moment the passive income generated by your assets reaches $3,000 a month, you are completely wealthy. You are financially free. You might not be a billionaire yet, but your assets now completely sustain your life. Your money has finally replaced your labor. If you truly want to rewrite your financial destiny, you must stop focusing entirely on your income statement and become completely obsessed with your asset column. Stop trying to climb the corporate ladder just to buy more expensive liabilities. Micro-experiment. Tonight, I want you to do a brutal, honest audit of your own financial reality. Take a blank piece of paper and draw a line straight down the middle. On the left side, write the word assets. List only the things that actually deposit cash into your pocket every single month without requiring your physical labor. On the right side, write the word liabilities. List everything that pulls money away from you: the car payments, the streaming subscriptions, the massive mortgage, the credit card debts. Don't judge yourself or feel guilty. Just look closely at the balance between the two. This quiet, simple awareness is the exact starting line for engineering your ultimate financial empire. Have you ever poured your absolute heart and soul into a company for years, sacrificing your weekends and family time, only to realize you are completely replaceable? You chase the next promotion. You update your resume with a deep sense of pride. But when you look closely at your bank account, the financial freedom you were promised is completely missing. You are working incredibly hard, but you are quietly draining your life force to build someone else's empire. To break out of this invisible servitude, we must understand a massive psychological blind spot that keeps the middle class working forever. Chapter 3. Mind your own business. There is a profound divide between your profession and your business. Society trains us to completely merge our identity with our job title. When someone asks you what you do, you automatically respond, "I am an engineer," or "I am a banker." But that is your profession. That is merely how you pay your bills. It is not your business. Your true business revolves entirely around your asset column. To understand this deep distinction, we have to look at a legendary conversation involving Ray Kroc, the genius who turned McDonald's into a global empire. In 1974, Kroc was invited to speak to a group of MBA students at the University of Texas. During the session, he casually asked the room, "What business am I in?" The students laughed, assuming it was a joke. Finally, one student answered, "Ray, everyone knows you are in the hamburger business." Kroc chuckled and completely shattered their reality. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I am not in the hamburger business. My business is real estate." Kroc explained that the primary focus of McDonald's wasn't just selling cheap food. The hamburgers and franchises were merely the mechanism to buy the absolute best commercial real estate in the world. He knew that whoever owned the land under the stores held the true wealth. Today, McDonald's is one of the largest single owners of real estate on the planet, owning the most valuable intersections in almost every major city. Ray Kroc's profession was selling hamburgers, but his business was accumulating income-producing real estate. The middle class completely misses this divide. Our education system is perfectly designed to teach you how to become a brilliant employee, how to mind someone else's business. When you spend your entire life focusing only on your profession, you unconsciously become a dedicated servant to three distinct masters. First, you work for the company owners, trading your precious time to make them wildly wealthy. Second, you work for the government because taxes are aggressively pulled from your paycheck before you even get to touch your own money. And third, you work for the bank, grinding every single day just to pay off your mortgage, your car loan, and your credit card interest. You are spending your entire existence minding everyone else's business. And as a result, your own business, your personal asset column, remains completely empty. Robert Kiyosaki doesn't tell you to recklessly quit your day job. Be a fantastic, deliberate employee. Keep your job. But starting today, think about it this way. Every hour you spend at work increases the value of the company you work for. Promotions may increase your salary, but they often increase the company's value even more. Rich Dad's message isn't to reject employment. It's to make sure that while you're helping build someone else's balance sheet, you're quietly building your own as well. You must begin minding your own business. You must take the leftover cash from your paycheck and meticulously start buying true assets. Most people struggle financially because when they get a little extra money, they buy personal effects they think are assets. They buy a brand new luxury car, a massive home theater system, or expensive golf clubs. But the exact moment you drive that new car off the lot, it loses 25% of its value. It is not an asset. A true asset is something you own that holds value or produces income without requiring your daily physical labor. It is a business that runs on autopilot, dividend-paying stocks, bonds, income-producing real estate, or royalties from intellectual property like books, music, or patents. The wealthy treat every single dollar they earn like a dedicated employee. Once a dollar goes into their asset column, it becomes a tireless worker that never sleeps, never asks for a vacation, and constantly generates more dollars. This leads us to a deeply psychological shift in how we reward ourselves. We all want the beautiful things in life, but there is a massive divide in how the rich and the middle class buy luxuries. The poor and middle class buy luxury items first. They desperately want to look wealthy, so they buy the big house or the expensive watch on credit. They use their own blood, sweat, and future labor to pay for it. They trap themselves in a prison of debt just to maintain an image. The wealthy do the exact opposite. They buy luxuries last. They focus with absolute quiet discipline on building their asset column first. They delay their immediate gratification. And when their assets finally start generating massive excess cash flow, they use that passive income to buy the luxury. The real estate pays for the car. The stock dividends pay for the vacation. They never sacrifice their initial capital to look rich. The asset does all the heavy lifting for them. In today's digital economy, minding your own business doesn't necessarily mean opening a brick-and-mortar store or buying an apartment complex on day one. It means starting that YouTube channel on the weekends, launching a freelance consulting gig, or investing in digital products. It means using the leverage of the internet to quietly build your asset column while your day job pays the bills. If you truly want to build a millionaire empire, you must stop giving all your energy to the people who employ you and start funneling that energy into the assets that will eventually set you free. Micro experiment. Today, I want you to mentally separate your identity from your paycheck. Look at your current financial setup and ask yourself one simple, honest question. Am I spending 100% of my time minding my boss's business? Or am I dedicating a fraction of my resources to minding my own? Open a new, separate savings or brokerage account today and literally label it My Business. Commit to transferring a specific amount into this account every single month, even if it is just $20. You are not allowed to use this money to pay bills or buy liabilities. This account has only one purpose: to buy assets. By taking this one tiny step today, you have officially stopped working purely for others and started building your own empire. Have you ever looked at your paycheck and felt a sudden sinking drop in your stomach? You grind for 40 hours a week, yet before the money even reaches your bank account, a massive chunk of your effort is silently stripped away by the government. You are told that this is just the normal cost of living in a civilized society. But what if the rules of this system are completely rigged? To understand how the world's elite legally shield their wealth, while the average worker pays the absolute highest price, we have to expose the hidden mechanics of the financial system. Chapter 4. The history of taxes and the power of corporations. Most people believe that taxes were originally created to punish the rich. It sounds like a beautiful Robin Hood story. Take from the wealthy and give to the poor. And in the beginning, that was exactly how the idea of income tax was sold to the masses. The working class voted for taxes because they genuinely thought it would only target the elite capitalists. But governments possess an endless, growing appetite for money. Once the government tasted that massive influx of revenue, the tax net slowly expanded. Over the decades, it trickled down and trapped the exact people who voted for it: the middle class and the poor. Today, the hardest working people, the ones relying entirely on a paycheck, carry the heaviest tax burden in society. But the rich did not just sit back and accept this reality. They possessed financial intelligence. They understood that knowledge is true power, and with the right knowledge, you can completely rewrite the rules of the game. They found a brilliant, entirely legal loophole. They utilized the corporation. When ordinary people hear the word corporation, they imagine a massive glass skyscraper, hundreds of employees, and a famous logo. But in reality, a corporation is nothing more than a legal document sitting in an attorney's filing cabinet. It is a legal entity, an invisible artificial shield created by the government itself. And this shield operates on a radically different set of financial laws. Here is the brutal truth about how the system is designed. If you are an employee, the financial cycle looks exactly like this. You earn money, the government takes its taxes immediately, and you are forced to try and survive on whatever is left over. You are taxed before you even get to buy your groceries or pay your rent. But a corporation plays the game in reverse. A corporation earns money. It spends absolutely everything it legally can on business expenses, and then it gets taxed only on whatever tiny amount is left over. This is the single biggest legal loophole in human history. The wealthy buy their cars, of course. None of this means corporations magically eliminate taxes. Every country has different tax laws, and legitimate business expenses must always comply with those laws. Rich Dad's lesson isn't about avoiding taxes illegally. It's about understanding the legal rules well enough to make smarter financial decisions. Their computers, their client dinners, and their travel through their corporations as pre-tax business expenses. They use the laws to their absolute advantage, while the average employee pays for everything with after-tax dollars, absorbing the heaviest punishment of the system. And here is the secret most Americans don't realize. You don't need to be Amazon or Apple to use this shield. A simple LLC for your freelance writing, your consulting side hustle, or your small real estate investments gives you access to the exact same rule book. It turns your everyday business expenses into pre-tax deductions. Robert Kiyosaki explains that if you truly want to build a millionaire empire, You cannot just work hard. Hard work without financial education only makes your boss and the government richer. You must build your financial IQ. Without financial intelligence, money will simply flow out of your hands faster than you can bring it in. This intelligence is built on 4 massive foundational pillars. First is accounting. This is financial literacy. It is the ability to read numbers, understand balance sheets, and track the flow of cash. If you cannot read the numbers, you cannot spot the weaknesses in a business or the hidden opportunities in an investment. It is the fundamental language of wealth. Second is investing. This is the actual science of making money. It involves strategies, formulas, and creative ways to deploy your capital so it multiplies while you sleep. Third is understanding markets. This is the science of supply and demand. It is the psychology of the crowd. You must understand what people want, what the market needs, and where the economic trends are shifting. An investment only makes sense if there is a market for it. And fourth is the law. When you deeply understand corporate and tax law, you unlock 2 life-changing advantages. First, you unlock massive tax advantages. The government actually rewards business owners and real estate investors with massive tax breaks. Why? Because they are the ones providing jobs and housing for the economy. The government uses the tax code to incentivize the behavior it wants. Second, you unlock protection from lawsuits. We live in a highly litigious society. When someone tries to sue a wealthy person, they often find that the individual owns absolutely nothing on paper. The rich control everything through corporate entities, limited liability companies, and trusts. But personally, they own nothing. Their wealth is completely shielded from predators. On the flip side, the middle class tries to proudly own everything in their own name. Their house, their car, their savings. This leaves their assets completely exposed to lawsuits and taxes. If you don't understand the law, you will spend your entire life working from January to May just to pay the government. But when you arm yourself with financial intelligence, you stop being a victim of the system. You step out of the shadows, and you turn the law into your ultimate unbreakable shield. Micro experiment. Today, I want you to perform a simple financial IQ audit. Look at the 4 pillars of financial intelligence: accounting, investing, markets, and the law. Ask yourself with absolute honesty, which of these 4 areas is your deepest blind spot? Once you identify it, dedicate just 15 minutes tonight to reading 1 article, listening to a podcast, or watching 1 educational video on that specific topic. You don't need to become a tax attorney or a certified accountant overnight, but you must stop playing the game completely blind. Take 1 tiny step today to elevate your financial intelligence and watch how the rules of the world slowly begin to work in your favor. Have you ever watched someone with half your intelligence and a fraction of your work ethic suddenly stumble into massive financial success? You sit there paralyzed by caution, waiting for the perfect moment to invest, waiting for the economy to stabilize, or waiting for someone to hand you an opportunity. You tell yourself that they just got lucky. But what if luck has absolutely nothing to do with it? What if the people who win big in life aren't the ones waiting for the right cards, but the ones who completely rewrite the rules of the game to shatter the illusion of scarcity and unlock the true potential of your mind? We must confront the ultimate secret of wealth creation. Chapter 5. The rich invent money. Every single one of us is born with massive potential, a quiet, untapped genius. But for most of us, that genius is suppressed by an intense, paralyzing emotion: fear. The fear of making a mistake, the fear of losing money. In the real world, it is rarely the smart people who get ahead. It is the bold. If you lack courage, your financial intelligence will remain locked inside you forever. Society trains us to be passive participants in the economy. We are taught to save our money in a bank account, buy prepackaged mutual funds, and pray that the market goes up. We wait for opportunities to be handed to us. But the rich operate in a completely different reality. They understand a profound, almost terrifying truth. Money is not real. Money is an agreement. Rich Dad isn't saying money has no value. He's saying its value depends on collective trust and the systems we create around it. That's why financial intelligence can often become more valuable than simply having cash. It is simply an idea. If you understand this, you realize that you do not need money to make money. You need financial intelligence. Robert Kiyosaki explains that there are 2 types of investors in the world: The first type is the package buyer. They call a retail broker or a real estate agent and buy an investment that is already put together. It is a clean, simple, and standard path. But the second type of investor is the creator. They are the ones who actually invent the investments. They see a puzzle in the market, a distressed property, a struggling business, or a gap in the industry, and they organize the pieces. They don't rely on luck. They create their own luck. Kiyosaki shares a brilliant example from a time when the real estate market had completely crashed. Everyone was terrified, holding on to their cash, crying about the terrible economy. But where the masses saw disaster, his trained mind saw absolute opportunity. He found a house completely ignored by the market, worth $75,000, but available for just $20,000 at a foreclosure auction. He didn't even use his own money. He borrowed $2,000 from a friend to lock down the deal. Soon after, he sold the house for $60,000, clearing a massive profit. He literally created money out of thin air using nothing but his financial intelligence, a network of contacts, and a few pieces of paper. This is what the rich do. They invent money by mastering 3 distinct skills: seeing what others miss, raising capital when they have none, and organizing smart people to execute the vision. If you spend your life clinging to the illusion of safety, hoarding your savings while inflation quietly eats it away, you will always be a victim of the economy. But when you train your mind to see the invisible opportunities hidden in plain sight, you stop waiting for a lucky break. You realize that your mind is your single most powerful asset, and you become the ultimate creator of your own wealth. Micro-experiment. Today, I want you to completely shift the way you walk through the world. I call this the opportunity scan. As you go about your day, look at one business, one piece of real estate, or one everyday product, and ask yourself a simple, quiet question. If I had to buy or improve this without using a single dollar of my own money, how would I do it? You don't actually have to buy it or launch a company today. Just force your brain to look past the price tag and start searching for the hidden mechanics. When you train your mind to solve the puzzle rather than fearing the cost, you awaken the financial genius inside you. Have you ever looked around your workplace and realized that the most talented, hardest working person in the room is rarely the one making the most money? You spend years perfecting your craft, earning expensive degrees and sharpening your specific skills. Yet you watch people with half your talent effortlessly climb past you and build massive wealth. It feels deeply unfair. But what if the reason you are stuck isn't a lack of talent, but a quiet, fatal flaw in what you are choosing to learn? To shatter the ceiling of your potential, we must dismantle the biggest lie the education system ever told us about success. Chapter 6. Work to learn. Don't work for money. From a very young age, society conditions us to specialize. We are told to pick a highly specific major, get a highly specific degree, and become an absolute expert in one tiny field. We assume that the more specialized we become, the more valuable we are. But specialization is a massive, invisible trap for the middle class. The more specialized your skills become, the more dependent you are on your specific industry. You become a perfect cog in a massive machine, completely reliant on your employer to survive. If that industry shifts or your company downsizes, your highly specialized skills suddenly lose all their value in the open market. To understand this profound trap, we must look at a deeply revealing encounter Robert Kiyosaki had with a journalist in Singapore. She was a brilliant, highly educated writer who dreamed of becoming a best-selling author. Yet, despite her magnificent talent, her books weren't selling and she was struggling financially. When she asked Robert for advice, he offered a gentle yet powerful suggestion. He told her to sign up for a training course in sales. The journalist was instantly outraged. She was an intellectual, a trained professional. The mere idea of stooping down to learn sales felt like a gross insult to her craft. She packed up her things and stormed out. But Robert pointed out a brutal, unapologetic reality. He told her, "I am not a best-writing author, I am a best-selling author. The world is absolutely filled with incredibly talented, highly educated poor people. There are brilliant programmers, gifted artists, and exceptional engineers who are quietly drowning in debt. Why? Because they focus 100% of their energy on perfecting their technical skill, but they know absolutely nothing about business, marketing, leadership, or communication. They possess a magnificent product, but lack the mechanism to deliver it to the world. This is exactly why we see millions of young Americans graduating with six-figure student loan debt, holding prestigious degrees, but moving back in with their parents. They mastered their specific major, but the system never taught them how to sell their skills, manage cash flow, or pivot when the job market changes. The wealthy mind operates on a completely different framework. They do not seek jobs for the paycheck. They seek jobs for the education. They are intensely deliberate about their career choices. A wealthy-minded individual will take a low-paying job in customer service, purely to master the art of communication and handling rejection. They will take a grueling job in a marketing firm, simply to learn the psychology of advertising. They don't care about the immediate salary, because they are mindfully extracting the exact skills they need to build their future empire. They understand that true financial independence requires you to know a little about a lot, rather than knowing absolutely everything about one tiny thing. If you want to build a system that generates wealth on autopilot, you must step back and acquire synergistic skills. The most critical, life-changing skills you can ever learn are cash flow management, system management, and people management. And the absolute foundation of all wealth, the skill that breathes life into every single business, is the ability to sell and communicate. Think about today's creators, software founders, YouTubers, and startup entrepreneurs. Many aren't necessarily the smartest engineers in the room, but they know how to communicate ideas, attract attention, build trust, and create systems around their expertise. Technical skill creates value. Communication multiplies it. When you stop working merely to survive the month and start working intentionally to acquire a powerful stack of new skills, you stop being a prisoner to your paycheck. You transform your daily grind into a paid university, and you become the ultimate architect of your own destiny. Micro-experiment. Today, I want you to perform a quiet, intentional shift in your perspective. Look closely at your current job or your daily routine. Stop looking at it as a place you are forced to go to earn a paycheck. Instead, identify one high-value skill hidden in your environment that you have been ignoring. Is it the way your manager negotiates? Is it the way the sales team handles objections? Is it the software system that tracks inventory? Choose just one skill and dedicate yourself to quietly observing and learning it this week. Treat your environment as your personal laboratory. The exact moment you prioritize learning over earning is the moment you unlock a peaceful, unstoppable path to true wealth. Have you ever read all the right books, listened to the best podcasts, mapped out a brilliant plan to change your financial life, and then completely failed to take a single step forward? You know exactly what you need to do to build wealth, yet an invisible wall keeps you completely paralyzed. What if your biggest enemy isn't the economy or your salary, but the hidden psychological barriers operating inside your own mind? To finally bridge the gap between knowing and doing, we have to dismantle the silent traps that keep even the smartest people broke. Chapter 7. Overcoming Obstacles. Robert Kiyosaki explains that even after you master financial literacy, 5 massive roadblocks will try to pull you right back into the rat race. These obstacles are fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance. Let's break down the first and most paralyzing trap, the fear of losing money. We all feel it, but the difference between the rich and the poor is how they handle that fear. Average people play the game of money entirely not to lose. They are so terrified of making a mistake that they park their money in safe, stagnant accounts where inflation quietly eats it away. But the wealthy play to win. They understand that failure is a prerequisite for success. If you avoid failure, you automatically avoid success. The second trap is cynicism. This is the noise of the world and the doubt in your own head. It is the friend who tells you that investing is a scam, or the news anchor screaming that the market is going to crash. Cynics never win. They just sit on the sidelines and criticize the players who are actually in the arena. You have to learn to filter out the noise and trust your own financial intelligence. The third trap is the most deceptive, laziness. But this isn't the laziness of sitting on the couch. The most common form of laziness in the modern world is staying incredibly busy. People stay frantically busy at their jobs or with their families, purely as a subconscious excuse to avoid facing their wealth-building responsibilities. liabilities. When presented with an opportunity, their lazy mind says, "I can't afford it." That statement completely shuts down the brain. The wealthy never say that. They ask, "How can I afford it?" That one simple shift forces the brain to wake up, solve the puzzle, and hunt for solutions. The fourth trap is bad habits. Our lives are a reflection of our habits more than our education. The middle class has a deeply ingrained habit. They pay everyone else first. They pay the mortgage, the credit card, and the bills, and save whatever tiny amount is left over. The rich have a radically different habit. They pay themselves first. This doesn't mean ignoring your financial responsibilities. It means making asset building a non-negotiable priority instead of whatever happens to be left over at the end of the month. The habit matters far more than the amount. Even when they are short on cash, they put money into their asset column before paying their bills. The ensuing pressure of the unpaid bills forces their financial genius to wake up and figure out a way to generate more income. The fifth and final trap is arrogance. Arrogance is simply ego hiding behind ignorance. Kiyosaki's rich dad told him, "What I know makes me money. What I don't know loses me money." Whenever you find yourself losing money or struggling, it is almost always because there is something you do not know. Instead of pretending to be the smartest person in the room, you must drop your ego and actively seek out a teacher or a book to fill that blind spot. If you want to step into the ranks of the truly wealthy, you must become a master of your own psychology. You must recognize these 5 obstacles the exact second they surface in your mind, and consciously choose to step right through them. Micro-experiment. Today, I want you to perform a simple language audit. Pay close attention to the words coming out of your mouth when you face a financial hurdle. If you catch yourself saying, "I can't afford that," or "I don't have the time," immediately stop. Force yourself to reframe the sentence into a question. Ask yourself, "How can I afford this?" Or, "How can I make the time?" You don't need to have the answer right away. Just opening the question breaks the cycle of mental laziness and trains your brain to start hunting for real opportunities. Have you ever closed a brilliant book, felt a massive surge of inspiration, and then woken up the next morning doing the exact same things you always do? We stockpile knowledge. We watch hours of content and memorize all the rules of wealth. But when it comes time to actually pull the trigger, we freeze. We sit around waiting for a magical, risk-free, perfect moment that simply does not exist. What if the true beginning of wealth isn't a massive financial move, but a series of quiet, deliberate psychological shifts? To transform raw information into a living, breathing empire, you need a definitive roadmap to awaken the financial genius already sleeping inside you. Chapter 8. Getting started. There is a profound difference between knowing the path and actually walking the path. Robert Kiyosaki outlines a 10-step process to awaken your financial genius, but none of these steps require you to have millions of dollars in the bank. They require you to completely engineer your mindset. The very first step has absolutely nothing to do with money. It is entirely about your spirit. You must find a reason greater than reality. If you ask most people if they want to be wealthy, they will instantly say yes. But then reality sets in. The reality is, building an asset column is hard work. It requires studying, taking calculated risks, and delaying immediate gratification. It is so much easier to just lie on the couch and watch television. Without a massive emotional driving force, the laziness of reality will always crush your ambitions. Your reason must be a combination of deep wants and deep don't wants. You must tell yourself, "I do not want to work my entire life just to pay bills. I do not want my family to ever feel the panic of a medical emergency they cannot afford." And then you build the positive. "I want the absolute freedom to travel the world. I want to control my own time." When your emotional why becomes a burning fire, the how suddenly becomes completely effortless. The second step is mastering the power of daily choice. Financially, every single day is a blank slate. Every single dollar that falls into your hands holds the power to dictate your entire future. You have the choice to spend it foolishly and choose to be poor. You have the choice to buy a liability and choose to be middle class. Or you have the choice to invest it into your mind and your asset column and choose to be wealthy. The greatest asset you will ever own is your mind, and what you choose to feed it every single day. The third step is the power of association, choosing your friends very carefully. Rich Dad also reminds us that advice should match results. Before taking financial advice from anyone, quietly ask yourself a simple question. Has this person actually built the kind of financial life I want? Good intentions don't always produce good financial guidance. Our brain unconsciously mirrors the people we surround ourselves with. If you spend your time with people who are constantly terrified of the economy, people who always scream that the sky is falling, their cynicism will quietly infect your mind. You don't have to abandon your old friends, but you must deliberately seek out individuals who talk about money, business, and investments. Surrounding yourself with wealthy minds makes building wealth the normal, accepted standard of your life. Kiyosaki also highlights the deep psychological power of choosing heroes. When we are children, we look at legendary athletes, and we naturally try to mimic their moves. We pretend we are them. But as adults, we lose this incredible power of imagination. When you choose financial heroes, people like Warren Buffett or Peter Lynch, you give yourself a mental blueprint. Today, that might be Alex Hormozi for business building, or a brilliant real estate investor you follow on YouTube. When you consistently flood your feed with their content, their voices eventually drown out your own doubts. When faced with a tough financial decision, you simply pause and ask, what would Warren Buffett do right now? This tiny psychological trick detaches you from your own fear and forces you to access a higher level of financial intelligence. Finally, you must master the power of focus. The middle class tries to use their own hard-earned paycheck to buy their luxuries, but the wealthy use a completely different formula. They use their intense desire for a luxury to motivate them to build an asset. If they want a new car, they don't go to the bank for a loan. They use that burning desire to find a piece of real estate or build a business that will generate the cash to buy the car. They use their desires to make themselves smarter, not poorer. Getting started isn't about making a flawless million-dollar trade on day one. It is about laying down these quiet, unbreakable psychological tracks in your mind, so that when the money finally arrives, your brain knows exactly where to route it. Micro-experiment. Today, I want you to perform a simple why exercise. Grab your journal or open a blank note on your phone. Write down 3 things you absolutely refuse to tolerate in your future, the things you deeply don't want. Then, write down 3 massive things you truly want. Don't just write logical sentences. Attach raw, vivid emotion to them. Read this list every single morning before you touch your work. When you engineer a reason greater than your current reality, you build a psychological engine that will never run out of fuel. Have you ever reached the end of a transformative book, felt a massive surge of adrenaline, and thought, this is it, my life changes today? But then Monday morning arrives. You hit the snooze button. You drive back to the exact same job, run through the exact same routine, and absolutely nothing changes. We consume endless amounts of information, hoping that knowledge alone will somehow magically rescue us. But knowledge without execution is just an illusion of progress. If you are finally ready to step off the sidelines and into the arena, you need a concrete, actionable blueprint to bridge the gap between theory and reality. Chapter 9. Still want more? Here are some to-dos. Robert Kiyosaki dedicates this final phase of the journey not to profound financial theories, but to raw, unapologetic action. He provides a highly specific, practical checklist to jumpstart your financial engine. The very first step requires a mindful, quiet courage. You must assess your current reality and completely stop doing what isn't working. It sounds incredibly obvious, yet millions of people wake up every day and repeat the exact same financial routines, silently hoping for a different outcome. You must take a deliberate pause. Evaluate your habits. If your current savings plan or career path isn't making you wealthy, stop digging the hole. You cannot discover a new ocean if you refuse to lose sight of the shore. Next, you must aggressively hunt for new ideas. Average people read one book or learn one skill and assume they have all the answers. Elite wealth builders are entirely different. They are completely obsessed with new formulas. They walk through bookstores and pick up texts on unique topics. They attend seminars, they invest in courses, They study industries they know nothing about. They are constantly feeding their brain new, raw materials to build with. But here is where the psychological game changes completely. When you find a new idea, you must find someone who has already executed it successfully. Society conditions us to ask our friends and family for advice. But if your friends are broke, they can only teach you how to be broke. If you want to invest in real estate, find someone who has already built a massive, profitable portfolio. Offer to buy them lunch. Ask them how they started. Pick their brain. Success leaves a deliberate trail of breadcrumbs. You just have to ask the right people for the map. Then comes the most critical and uncomfortable step of all. You must make offers. Most people spend months, sometimes years, analyzing a potential business or property, terrified of making a mistake. They suffer from chronic analysis paralysis. They wait for the perfect deal with zero risk, wrapped in a beautiful bow. But the wealthy understand that the real world does not reward perfection. It rewards action. You can make an offer with a simple escape clause, a legal backdoor that protects you if the inspection fails or the numbers don't make sense. And making offers isn't just for real estate. If you are a freelancer, it means pitching 3 new high-ticket clients today. If you want to buy a small online business, it means sending an email to the owner asking if they'd consider selling. It is about putting your intentions out into the marketplace. The goal isn't to win every single deal you touch. The goal is to get into the game. If you are not actively making offers and putting yourself on the field, you have already lost. And finally, you must embrace the ultimate philosophy that separates the rich from everyone else. Action always beats inaction. Remember, the goal isn't to make perfect decisions. Even experienced investors make mistakes. The goal is to make informed decisions, learn quickly, and improve with every opportunity. Progress compounds exactly the same way money does. The universe does not care about your brilliant plans, your carefully color-coded spreadsheets, or your good intentions. It only responds to movement. You can sit on the couch and dream about financial freedom for the next 20 years, or you can step into the discomfort and take one tiny, imperfect step today. The wealthy do not wait for the fear to vanish. They feel the fear, they acknowledge it, and they execute anyway. Micro-experiment. Today, I want you to execute the mentor reach out. Think of one person in your extended network or even someone online who has already achieved the exact financial goal or lifestyle you are chasing. Send them one brief, polite, and genuine message today. Ask them for just one piece of practical advice, or simply offer to buy them a cup of coffee to hear their story. Stop waiting for the perfect moment to arrive. Take the action, hit send, and officially set your new life into motion. Have you ever wondered what happens the exact moment a masterclass ends? You close the book, you turn off the screen, and the quiet, heavy reality of your everyday life stares right back at you. We spend so much time hunting for the ultimate secret to wealth, but we often ignore the absolute final step required to actually claim it. What if the true secret isn't absorbing more information, but making a single, irreversible decision about who you are finally going to become? To close this profound journey, we must confront the final, unapologetic truth Robert Kiyosaki leaves us with. Conclusion, final thoughts, and the ultimate choice. Throughout this entire journey, we have completely dismantled the illusions of the middle class. We have exposed the exhausting trap of the rat race, decoded the hidden language of assets and liabilities, and unmasked the true power of financial intelligence. But Kiyosaki's ultimate message isn't just about accounting, real estate, or corporate tax loopholes. It is about a fundamental, aggressive shift in your worldview and understanding the exact era of human history we are living in right now. We have officially transitioned out of the industrial age and into the information age. The old rules of money, the rules our parents taught us, are not just obsolete, they are actively dangerous. The idea that you can go to school, secure a safe corporate job, save a portion of your paycheck in a bank, and rely on a government pension to protect you in old age is a complete and total illusion today. Inflation is quietly eating away the value of savings. Taxes are stripping the middle class bare. The gap between the ultra-wealthy and everyone else is widening at a terrifying speed. In this new world, relying on a corporation or the government to save you is financial suicide. Your financial destiny is entirely in your own hands. Kiyosaki points out that the universe gave every single one of us two massive, undeniable gifts: our time and our mind. And every single time a dollar falls into your hands, you, and only you, hold the power to dictate your future. When you get paid, you face a brutal crossroads. If you take that dollar and spend it on cheap entertainment and junk, you are actively choosing to be poor. If you take that dollar and buy a massive liability, like a luxury car on a high-interest loan, and trick yourself into believing it's an asset, you are actively choosing the endless stress of the middle class. But if you take that exact same dollar and invest it first into your own financial education and then into systems that generate passive income, you are actively choosing to be wealthy. The choice is made every single day. Rich Dad would likely ask one final question every time money enters your life. Where is this dollar going to work? Every dollar can either become your employee, buying more assets and generating future income, or it can disappear into consumption and ask you to work even harder for the next one. That quiet decision, repeated thousands of times, shapes an entire financial life, in complete silence, through the tiny habits of your spending. This brings us to the deepest, most powerful realization of the entire book. Money is simply an idea. It is not real. Ever since the world moved off the gold standard, money became fiat currency. It is just printed paper backed by human confidence. Because money is just an idea. If you deeply believe that money is scarce and that you must trade your precious life force and bleed for 40 years just to get a tiny piece of it, then that will become your exact painful reality. But if you realize that money is abundant and that it can be invented, created, and multiplied through systems, intellectual property, and real estate, the entire universe suddenly opens up to you. True wealth isn't hoarding cash in a bank vault. True wealth is your financial IQ. It is your ability to see the invisible opportunities that terrified people walk right past. As you step back out into the real world, you will realize that we all have two distinct voices operating inside our own minds. One voice is the poor dad. It is the voice of traditional society. It whispers to you out of fear and caution. It tells you to play it safe, to avoid all risks, to fear failure like a disease. It is the exact voice that looks at a massive dream and immediately says, "I can't afford it." It shuts your brain down and keeps you small. The other voice is the rich dad. It is the voice of courage, rebellion, and quiet awareness. It looks at a chaotic economy and sees nothing but pure opportunity. It refuses to be a victim of circumstance. It embraces failure as the ultimate teacher. It doesn't say, "I can't afford it." It forcefully and deliberately asks, "How can I afford it?" Every single morning when you open your eyes, you have to make a deliberate choice about which voice you are going to listen to. You possess the most powerful asset in the known universe, your brain. If you choose to feed it with fear, cynicism, and liabilities, it will build a life of quiet desperation. But if you choose to feed it with financial education, courage, and true assets, it will architect an empire that outlasts you. Micro-experiment. Today, I want you to perform your final defining challenge, the ultimate declaration. Take out a physical piece of paper, not your phone screen, a real, tangible piece of paper. Write down this one sentence in big, bold letters. Today, I stop working for money, and I officially begin the journey of making money work for me. Sign your name at the bottom, date it, and tape it directly to your bathroom mirror or your bedroom door. Let this be the exact moment you stop merely reading about wealth and officially step into the arena to build it. The masterclass is over. Your new life begins right now.